I've been an athlete most of my life until college where I got hurt. I had a couple surgeries, 2 hip surgeries, one on my wrist, one on my knee. Even after each surgery, I still tried to compete, but I had so much physical pain and stemming from just all these other issues that I had. I couldn't do the things I needed to do for work. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't get on my laptop. I couldn't type. I couldn't actually move my neck. So at that point, I was like, I'm losing days. I'm losing time. So the lack of freedom was really got to me. 2 days later, I get on the phone with this guy who starts making all these big promises. This is going to change my life. And I'm in so much pain that, I'll try anything. And then he goes, money back guaranteed. I'm like, this guy must be crazy. He must know what he's doing. So that's when we started working together. And I think for the first 2 months, I was really busy. I didn't take it serious. I just did the stretching, but I felt exponentially better. And then when I really got into the training, not only did I feel better, but I started to sleep better, started to wake up in a much better place. When you're living with pain and you don't realize it, it's like a 20-pound blanket over your shoulders. It's like a weighted blanket that you're just walking around with all the time. And we corrected that. And that for me is like every day I'm like, oh, wait, I can move my neck. For the last 10 years, I literally couldn't do this. I couldn't look up. So that's insane. So now whenever I'm outside, I actually look up, something I probably hadn't been conscious of, but I hadn't looked at the stars in that same way that you look at the stars as a kid. So Sana and I through quarantine, we go out the Joshua Tree, or Jason and myself go out the Joshua Tree to the desert where, there's no light pollution. So when you look up, you're seeing an entire universe, an entire world. And that whole thing, I was just so thankful about the fact that I now was able to not only see it, but to see it with new eyes, where I'm like, oh, wow, this is beautiful, versus like, oh, this hurts. Because that wasn't even a thought coming into my mind when I looked up. And sometimes I'll sit on a balcony here and then I'll just literally look up. And even in LA, you can still see the stars. And it's such a wonderful thing, because every time I look up at the stars, it's a little weird. I think about Reset You. I think about what we've done, because that's giving me the ability to honestly just live. I think a lot of people, they look at it, it's like a daunting task of like, oh, wow, look at this mountain I have to climb. But it's not a mountain, right? Just one step at a time, because every single step you take, it starts getting exponentially better. And I think that a lot of people look at it as like, oh my God, there's so much weight I need to lose. There's so many things that need to be fixed. But if you think about it, right, isn't it worth doing all these little things that you need to do? And if someone says it's only going to take 3 weeks for you to feel better, and then 6 months for you to fix a lot of these issues, it's a no-brainer.